Fit in 10 Nation, it is the official halfway mark of the Fit in 10 Challenge. I told you this goes by so fast. We're at the halfway mark. We're at the peak of the mountain, and now we are coming down. Day 35, although I know we've got a few extra days, but for the sake of the original timeline, we are halfway through. Crazy, right? It goes by super fast. Okay, I want to talk to you guys today about how or why you ought to weight train for fat loss. Now, this is not my opinion. This is just a fact. And so weight training in and of itself is really the strongest tool, well, in addition to diet. Training and diet work together in tandem to make what I'm about to tell you happen. But weight training is the strongest tool for long-term fat loss. Okay, long-term fat loss, among many other benefits, which we'll get into. Okay, but we're just going to talk specifically about why it's an important tool for fat loss. So today I'm going to mention three, and I've got a huge list here. So here are the first three. Okay, increased metabolism. So, everybody says, well, yeah, but exercise increases your metabolism. This is sustained metabolism. So long as whatever muscle mass you have, okay, so every pound of muscle that you have burns roughly about 50 calories. Okay, we're talking about skeletal muscle mass here, not smooth muscle or cardiac muscle, but we're talking about skeletal muscle mass. Skeletal muscle mass burns on average 50 calories per pound. Okay, so you carry an extra 10 pounds of muscle, you are burning an extra 500 calories per day. Think about that. Now, 10 pounds of muscle is a lot of muscle, but there's a lot of you could put that on in 1 year if you wanted to, especially in the beginning. Okay, so there is one reason. Okay, reason number two. When you weight train, now we're assuming that you're training to failure. You are creating, or near failure. You're training hard, that is. Well, let's be more specific. I like to be very specific here. We are trained to the point where we are creating muscle damage. Okay, we are creating enough of a stimulus that we are forcing the body to adapt, meaning that the body is progressing. Okay, so when you're training to that degree, you are creating EPOC. Okay, which is and thank you, Darian, for reminding me of the acronym. So excessive post exercise oxygen uptake. Basically, what this means is it's a fancy, phrase for, or fancy name for, essentially when your body's going through tissue recovery. Okay, and this is different than going through recovery after a long run. The muscle damage is to a much greater degree. Okay, there's many more fibers that are affected when you're weight training intensely. Okay, so this after effect goes on for several days. You are recovering for several days, and if you're weight training on a regular basis, then you are constantly going through this epoch. You are constantly going through this phase where you are burning more calories just because you're going through a recovery phase. Okay, so reason number two, EPOC, excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption. All right, reason number three, increased blood sugar management. Now, there's a few parts to this, all right? So I'm just going to talk about one part of this. One part is you are creating more muscle tissue. And you may have heard me say this already, because I have mentioned this to you guys, but it was some time ago. Your body can store sugar in basically three areas primarily. Your liver, your fat cells, which you don't want, and your muscle cells, okay, your skeletal muscle cells. So, your liver's only so big, can't really store that much. But of course, the more muscle mass you have, the more potential, real estate you have to store sugar. So the more muscle mass you have, the greater degree or greater potential your body has of regulating blood sugar levels. Okay, basically you can withstand more carbohydrates, more sugar. Your body becomes a better reservoir at getting sugar out of the bloodstream and storing it in muscle, which is not going to have any effect on your body composition. Well, actually, it will actually have a good effect on your body composition, because it'll look like you have more muscle. Okay, if you were to get a scan done, a DEXA scan or an in-body scan like we do. Okay, because you have more water in the muscle. Okay, you have a more hydrated muscle. And as a result, you'll be able to perform more activity because you have more stored reserves, more energy, more stored energy reserves. Okay, that is non-fat tissue. Okay, and there's a second part to this, which I'm going to get to tomorrow because I'm already at 6.5 minutes. So let's get the message of the day. This is one of my favorites, and I saved it for day 35. Because I thought this is a good time for it, and it goes like this. Do you want to know the difference between a master and a beginner? Do you want to know what the difference is between a master and a beginner? Does anybody know? You may have heard this before. The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. You gotta keep trying. You gotta keep pushing forward. You gotta know that every time you hit a stumbling block, or every time maybe you realize you made a mistake unknowingly, perhaps you didn't do something perfectly, that you are getting closer to your goal, essentially. That's what that means. Okay? If you're not making mistakes, if you're not having these, whatever you want to call them, mini failures, you're not trying hard enough. Okay? So I'm going to say it again. Do you want to know the difference between a master and a beginner? The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. All right? So there you go, you guys. You got to submit, commit to this challenge. We are halfway through, officially speaking. Positive energy, positive vibes. Always give gratitude. You're going to send me some gratitude this week, and at some point when you send me your feedback, right? Send me 5 things you are grateful for. And of course, always believe in yourself. Right? You believe in yourself, don't you? You should. You ought to. You have no good reason not to. All right? We'll talk to you guys all soon. Have a wonderful evening here. Friday night. Hopefully there's no fireworks because they kept me up all night last night. We'll see you guys. See you tomorrow, 10:15. Or maybe you're going to come to one of the earlier classes. We have a 7, 8, and 9. And of course, Fit and 10 at 10:15. Have a wonderful night. See you guys.